so that they know, hey, this is home. We got you. We're thinking about you. Here's your spot, just like last time. Here's the toys. Here's the food. Here's the water. Let's chill, let's enjoy this and have a good time. So
one thing that we did in practice when we moved to the new neighborhood was, taking time. The whole move thing is this frenzied process. And, we moved into a cul-de-sac. So people were a little bit more, the neighbors were right there, didn't have to walk laterally down the street. And we made sure to take time that when we saw somebody pull up, that we sort of lingered outside, so we at least could make that introduction and shake hands and introduce the kids.
I love that Craig called it lingered. There's so much being told in that choice of words.
That's because he's an action guy, and he would rather okay, everybody grab something. Let's go.
Linger. So yeah, and just sort of meeting the neighbors is something that makes it a little bit better. I like the idea of, having something kind of special and new for the kids when they get there as well. We bought a trampoline, and so we had that in the backyard, kind of had it set up, as a surprise, and, just seeing that sort of Christmas morning excitement when they, walk into the backyard and just lose their mind over the trampoline, our playground set or whatever it might be. I think that is a really good way of sort of, getting the kid excited about the new place that you're going to. And then, when it comes down to meeting neighbors, if you have pets, taking the dog for a walk around the neighborhood. And then, at the time when people are coming home from work and you're able to meet the neighbors and walking with the kids and stuff like that, you see who has kids, oh yeah, we got a dog, and you kind of figure all that out, going up to the park and playing around as well. So those are some good tips that I would recommend, if you are moving into a new home, try out some of those to help get your kids sort of acclimatized to the new neighborhood and meeting new people.
I remember when we moved this last year, even with a 1-year-old, we made some mistakes that prolonged the move. So while it didn't indirectly affected the whole family. So my big takeaway from this last move was, just because you're moving across town, think of it as you're moving to Vermont from California, because you want to move once. And the endless car trips that happened before and after the moving truck, it made the move, I think, almost last about 3 or 4 days. And it was just a huge strain on us and trying to take care of the kids during that time. So
we did some of those tactics with you. We made sure that you felt like you were picking your office, even though we had already chosen it for you, the one that was more, soundproof. And then we even gave you your own phone at the new office. So I think Craig mentioned little treats like that. So yeah, I think it works with adults too.
Fair. So back to actual salience here, right? Craig, I love what you had shared there about the whole, assimilation into the neighborhood deal. I remember for us when we were kids, we went next door to the playground, it was the school playground. And it was that's kind of where the kids were, and it's to a kid, having the ability to almost kind of introduce and present yourself to this new world is kind of a critical piece. Yeah, you could do it first day of school, but man, if you can get a leg up on that and get a little summertime, playground action in, get a couple friends and get a couple names in the hopper, so that day one is not day one. I think that's kind of a critical thing. So identifying where in your new neighborhood is kind of the congregation deal, and kind of going there as the parent for the first couple times to kind of check it out, make sure it's cool, make sure it's safe, make sure there's no bullies, doing the bully thing or whatever. And also kind of get a little bit of a slipstream going into the next school year. I think that's kind of a critical little hack.
Yeah. Yeah, because that can be really challenging for a lot of kids, especially the uprooting, new zip code, new school, whole bank of new friends, So if you can get a jump start on that, it's a win-win.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So, there's another piece on that too. We kind of mentioned it at the top there, but there's the fur-faced families as well. Fur-faced kids, which is, I think that's the pet name that Jen has for you, right, Jer?
Yeah, I mean the whole group. I think we're all.
Oh my God! I just realized that. Yeah, that's the quarantine deal. Yeah. So, a couple things on that. Pets are emotional sons of guns, and I remember when we moved, the dog was going in the yard and he was eating all the grass, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. The dog's stressed out right now pretty bad too, it's kind of like a little coping mechanism. And so I was talking with one of my longtime, best time, all-time clients, Hillary Noyes, right, Dave?
Yeah.
Who is a vet, DVM.
Yeah.
And, she's the captain over there at the Animal Welfare Society. And I asked her in advance if she had any thoughts on that. And she actually had some really good tips. First and foremost, when you're in the move, make sure your pet's little area is safe, right? So if they've got like a little bed or they've got like a little deal or a little cat house or whatever, leave them sort of intact. So while the chaos is going on around them, they can feel a little bit sense of normalcy in their deal there. And then also during move day, make sure that they're safe. They're safely confined. The door goes open. If they're not an animal that is allowed to be outside, the mover swings the door open, the dog or cat goes sprinting out and it's chaos, right? Same is true on the other side of it, right? Go in early, check it out, make sure that, the windows are closed or whatever, so that, if you drop the pet in the new spot and it freaks out, it doesn't sprint off, run down a neighborhood, never to be found again. So that safely confined element, I think, is key. And then if you could imagine the continuity of that same deal, having their spot when you're moving to keep them sort of sane, set it back up in the new spot as soon as possible. Just like what you did, Dave, what you said with Bodie, so that they know, hey, this is home. We got you. We're thinking about you. Here's your spot. Just like last time. Here's the toys. Here's the food. Here's the water. Let's chill and let's enjoy this and have a good time. So I thought those are some cool tips. You guys have any thing to add on the fur-faced families?
Yeah, let me jump in there real quick. I am completely surprised at how many families that, when they're starting to look for a new house, in San Diego, we got a ton of homes that are on canyons, we got these mesas and, we got these finger canyons that go out and drops off the backside of things. And, along with that comes, wildlife. And it's surprising how many people don't realize that actually wildlife lives in those canyons. And some of those things are coyotes and other things are rattlesnakes. So, if you do have a pet and you're going into, choosing a home that sits on a canyon, making sure the fence is tall enough to where, a coyote can't jump over, because they can easily, get over 4 or 5 foot fence. And then also with regards to, if you have, small pets as well, having a barrier down along the bottom. A lot of the homes that are kind of the track homes will have the wrought iron see-through, black fences. But that doesn't do you any good stopping a snake from, kind of crawling in underneath. And if you got little ones and, pets as well, that can be a significant danger. So, when I'm showing properties and they're wanting to move forward with an offer and just saying, hey, make sure you guys, there's no barrier down here for snakes, and this fence might be a little bit too low for your dog, are good things to talk about.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I remember that when we moved, we put, my older one was old enough to kind of be in charge of the animal. So that was one of her jobs, like you mentioned, Jesse, having control or a sense of responsibility. She was in charge of making sure Magnum was okay, have him on the leash, show him around the yard. It was just stuff to do and a feeling of importance. And I think while we're talking about this, that memory's coming back, that was something that was really, I think, helpful for her. She was in charge of it. She was taking care of someone else, so she didn't have time to worry about herself.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great points for sure.
Dave, what did you guys do with your pet turtle?
Yeah, I was going to say the way we handle moving with pets is we don't have any. But I think, I think you can still put them to work though, right? I don't know. Maybe I should get a pet to see if that actually works. But I've seen cats handle bubble wrap, and dogs can be taught to carry things. So put them to work.
Some huskies in a sled.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
ideas.
I think on that note,
Yeah.
I feel pretty complete. So gang, thanks for hanging out. And I'll have some resources and some contacts underneath wherever you're finding this here too. So appreciate you, Green Team. Till next time.
Thank you.
All right.
Next time.
Bye.
See you, gang.